Welcome back to my G1 Retro Reviews. Today, we're taking a look at the classic Transformers episode, City of Steel. In this episode, the Decepticons take over the Big Apple, and they disassemble Optimus Prime, and it's up to the rest of the Autobots to stop them and save their leader. This episode opens up on the New York City skyline, where we can spot some very recognizable buildings. There's the Empire State Building, which was the building that King Kong climbed in that movie, which will be relevant later in this episode. There's the Chrysler Building, the Statue of Liberty, and, of course, the old World Trade Center Twin Towers. So we see Laserbeak use his lasers to open a manhole cover. Oh boy, is he going to come across the Ninja Turtles? Or maybe the Lizard? Or even the Morlocks? Man, it must be really crowded down in the New York sewers. No wonder the Turtles had such a hard time finding a new home in the second movie. There seems to be almost as many people living below the city streets as above them. Well, you can count the Decepticons as subterranean residents of New York as well, as we see that they have built a secret base underneath the city.
Remove! Remove! Always remove! I didn't join this outfit to be a dump truck!
But you are a dump truck, Long Haul. And not to be all functionist or anything, but what did you expect? When Optimus Prime and the other Autobots are driving down the raised highway, for one thing, I don't think there's actually any raised highways in New York, although I could be wrong. But in this shot, we can spot even more famous New York landmarks. Obviously, there's the Chrysler Building in the background again, but I think this church here is supposed to be Trinity Church. And these two taller buildings look familiar as well. I think the one on the right is supposed to be the Woolworth Building minus the top part. As Optimus throws Soundwave... What did he say?
Bruh. And if you were to fear one minicon, I'll melt Optimus Prime down for paper clips.
Wait, they have minicons in G1? How come we've never seen them? Aww, that would be so cute to have minicons in G1. I imagine that they'd be kind of like Soundwave's minions, but even smaller. So Hook disassembles Optimus Prime with a lightsaber? See, now how did he survive this but not Transformers the movie? We then cut to the Autobots infiltrating the New York City sewer system. Are they going to run into the Ninja Turtles? Probably not.
Just what we needed, another robot.
Man, this really makes me wish I had the time to review the original TMNT series. Wait, why is Spike still riding piggyback on Bumblebee's shoulders? Did he not want to get his boots wet? Or maybe he's just having too much fun. Well, the Autobots soon come across the Alligatorcon, which, as we'll learn later, is actually the recycled body of Optimus Prime. And it's really a shame, with this episode and this part especially being so memorable, we've never gotten an Alligatorcon toy in all these years. At least not an official one. A couple of third parties have taken a crack at doing a toy of the character, but there's still nothing official from Hasbro. Despite how easy and fitting it would have been for them to simply take a Skull Cruncher mold, repaint it into Optimus Prime colors, and give it an Optimus Prime head and rifle. Come on, Hasbro. Why isn't this a Generation Selects exclusive or something? Oh, and before I move off the topic entirely, I think the reason that the Constructicons turned Optimus Prime's torso into an alligator is because of the whole urban legend of alligators living in New York City's sewer system. Which, is obviously not true, aside from Leatherhead and the Lizard.
This alligator is big and heavy.
What?
This alligator is big and heavy.
Why did they all say that at once? It almost sounds like they're singing. When Bluestreak and Hound fall into the subway, we can briefly see Frenzy accidentally colored like Rumble driving the train. Or is it the other way around? Well, yet again, it seems like even the show can't decide who's supposed to be what color. Once again playing on the New York theme, the Decepticons send their battle taxis to attack the Autobots. This always made me wish that there was a taxi transformer based on this episode. Again, possibly another easy repaint idea for you, Hasbro. We would get a few taxi Transformers throughout the years, although unfortunately none of these figures would really fill the role as a Decepticon battle taxi. In this episode, we once again see Sideswipe demonstrate his ability to fly, presumably using his rocket pack, even though it's not shown.
Gee, I didn't know Decepticons had uncles.
Sure they do. There's Uncle Sixshot, and, well, that's all I can think of. But if Autobots and their descendants can have aunts, I don't see why Decepticons can't have uncles. This episode is also notable as the first appearance of Laserbeak's repaint brother, Buzzsaw, which I think is great. Laserbeak always seems to get all the limelight, whether it's G1, Armada, Cybertron, Animated, Prime, the movies, Cyberverse, or Rescue Bots Academy. We so rarely get to see poor Buzzsaw. I hope he gets more attention in the future. And finally, we once again see the Constructicons combine into Devastator, who immediately begins climbing the building like King Kong.
I saw this once when I linked my databank to an Earth television transmission. I think it was called King Kong.
Hey, you stole my whole shtick, Wheeljack. So, yeah, like Jackie said, Devastator climbs the building, which definitely seems to be a deliberate homage to King Kong. And so the Autobots defeat the Decepticons, and apparently all the stolen buildings are restored off-screen in the blink of an eye, because as we see in the closing shot, the city skyline is back to normal. Like I said before, this was a very memorable episode of G1. And a pretty good one too. The story was fairly quick-paced, the animation wasn't too bad, and there were a few fun and cute moments. Again, I just wish that we had more figures based on this episode, especially that alligator Optimus Prime. We would, however, get a game based on this episode, or at least partially inspired by it. Transformers Devastation, where we can see a similar plan to cyberform a large city. And Devastator and the Constructicons are also quite heavily featured in it. In fact, the first chapter of the game is even called City of Steel, just like the title of this episode. This also wouldn't be the last time that New York would be featured in Transformers. Not even the last time in the G1 continuity, as in the Japanese Headmasters cartoon, Sixshot threatened to attack the city, along with places in other countries such as Canada, Great Britain, France, Japan, and Russia, and the Autobot Headmasters staked out on top of the Statue of Liberty's shoulder to wait for him, where they compared her beauty to Arcee's, which is a little cringy, but it does make me wonder, what if the Statue of Liberty was a giant robot? Or for that matter, what if there was a female Titan? Because, I mean, just look at the scale between the Statue of Liberty and the Autobot Headmasters. She would definitely be Titan scale without a doubt. And, well, that's all I'll say on Transformers in New York City for now. So be sure to let me know what you thought of this episode of G1 down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you back here next time for the next episode of the original Transformers series, Attack of the Autobots. See you then.